tape right now because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
Jim.
So there's this guy, Mark Levin, who's foaming at the mouth for war with Iran. And here's what he said this. This is interesting because
Sometimes the military has to be used if it's used by a smart commander-in-chief, if it's used wisely, if it's used for a specific purpose, it gives us peace. So I want the so-called, I don't know what to call them, people running around, warmonger, the sloganeers. This should be an education for you, too. This should be an education for you, too. America, don't you feel relief? Of course you feel relief. Because these Islamo-Nazis were building nuclear weapons to attack us, too, with intercontinental ballistic missiles. Guess what? You can go to bed peacefully tonight. No, that's not going to happen.
that's the exact thing that Saddam Hussein is trying to get weapons of mass destruction so he can attack us. Why in the F would a country like Iran or Iraq or any want to attack the biggest military in the world? Again, so that's Mark Levin, and he's telling you you're supposed to feel, boy, didn't you rest easy? Didn't you sleep better last night because Trump started a war with Iran? No. In fact, I was worried about a retaliatory strike inside the United States, like most people were.
Which wise leader is he talking about that used force? I can't remember us ever winning a war as long as I've been alive.
Because we haven't. Well, you don't remember Grenada? It was fantastic.
Aside from the triumph of Grenada.
So here is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She tweeted this out. She says, MAGA is not for foreign wars. We are not for regime change. We are for America first. The United States should not be involved in fighting nuclear-armed Israel's war with Iran. And here, watch, she goes off. This is kind of good.
I know. Don't watch his show. But no, I didn't sleep better after neocons and warmongers talked this administration into entering a hot war that Israel started after Netanyahu barely won a vote, Steve, barely won a vote by 2 votes. In order to stay in power the day before Israel attacked, an unprovoked attack, Iran. Now, I'm not making apologies for Iran. I have no...
So I didn't, by the way, that's a little news for me. I didn't know that they had some kind of a vote inside of Israel to see if Benjamin Netanyahu could remain in power, and he won by 2 votes. And then the next day he does the war with Iran. Did you know that, Kurt? I didn't know that.
So if there's not World War III, it means they're, like I said at the outset, they're going to pin the whole thing on Bibi Netanyahu and act like Israel's doesn't even.
Right.
Because I already hear that. I already hear that from people.
Yeah.
Like, I hate him.
Yeah.
Die-hard Zionists are saying that to me.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go.
Investment in the terrorist regime of Iran. But the reality is no American slept better after America bombed Iran, because all of a sudden we now have threats on our homeland.
Right.
We now have warnings from our State Department for Americans overseas. Qatar put out a warning to Americans to shelter in place. Americans in Israel are terrified for their lives, as well as Israeli people are terrified for their lives because bombs have been falling in Israel. And and Americans all over the world are seriously questioning, is this going to be World War III? So no, I didn't sleep better, regardless of Mark Levin's silly name calling. And I don't think any American is sleeping better after this, Steve.
What's going to happen? You're coming back. Everybody's coming back. They're going to be here tomorrow. You guys are going to get briefings. What's going to happen? Are other voices going to get in to start advising the president, ma'am?
Well, I got to add on one more thing, Steve, and I'm sure you've covered it on your show. Mark Levin was one of the biggest never-Trumpers when President Trump was running for president. So it absolutely makes me sick. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth that he's one of the voices that is constantly texting and calling President Trump's phone and showing up at the White House demanding for America to go to every single foreign war on behalf of Israel. I'm really sick and disgusted at that. And it's people like him and Lindsey Graham and all these other people that never really supported Trump in the beginning. People like me, regular people like me, donated to President Trump. We showed up at his rallies. We voted for him. We truly supported him. I've supported him the entire time. Mark Levin was a never-Trumper, compared President Trump, claimed that he was the same as Code Pink. All of this horrible attacks on President Trump. And he only supports him now because he couldn't beat him, because people like me supported President Trump and got him elected. And Steve, I've spent 5 years. I've spent millions of dollars, millions of my own money, traveling this entire country campaigning for President Trump, defending him when everyone abandoned him after January 6th. And I would say I represent MAGA far more than Mark Levin or any of these other neocon suck-ups ever will and ever do, because MAGA is not for foreign wars. Yep. We are not for regime change, and we are for America first. That's not isolationism at all. That's for fixing our $37 trillion debt. That's fighting for border security. That's fighting for my kids, Steve. My kids are 22, 25, and 27, and I want them to have a future. And I am sick and tired of people like this. A lot of these people are going to be dead in 10 to 15 years, but my kids' future matters to me. And right now, their generation can't buy a house. They can't afford insurance. They can't get good paying jobs. They can't afford groceries. They can't afford to buy a car. They can't afford gas. They don't know if they're ever going to be able to save money for their retirement because they're barely making it paycheck to paycheck. And I am so angry about this. So all of them have crossed my line. And you want to know what I have that Mark Levin doesn't have? I have a voting card, Steve. I have a voting card because I have a district that believes in the greatness of America, that believes in America First policies, and desperately wants President Trump, his administration, and the Republican-controlled House and Senate to enact and support this. And I tell you what, 6 months in, Steve, and here we are, turning back on the campaign promises, and we bombed Iran on behalf of Israel. Yes, it was on behalf of Israel. We are entering a nuclear war, World War III, because the entire world is going to erupt. And you want to know the people that are cheering it on right now? Their tune is going to drastically change the minute we start seeing flag draped coffins on the nightly news, on Fox News that brainwashes all the baby boomers, and on CNN that brainwashes all the Democrat baby boomers. And that is exactly how this is going to go down.
So she's coming out hard, guns blazing against Trump for 6 months in, going back on his campaign promises, doing the exact opposite, and she's coming out guns blazing for Fox News. Look at that. Marjorie Taylor Greene turns out to be the sage, the person with the actual courage. Isn't that something? Because you were told the exact opposite about her, weren't you? Mm-hmm. Yes. And I'm having a hard time hearing what she's saying because I am in love with that chair she's sitting in.
Really?
Yes. And the whole time I'm like, I got to look for a chair like that. I love that chair.
I do too.
Don't you not love that chair?
Jimmy, I'm loving it.
So here, she has a little bit more to say. So she goes, so I don't know if you, even though what she's basically saying there, what I hear is that she's more MAGA than Trump. She doesn't want to say it explicitly, but she just did kind of say it when she said 6 months in, we're already going back on our biggest campaign promises. So that's what. So she's going against Trump. She's going against Fox News. That's what we thought the squad was going to do in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, Ryan Grimm wrote a book. He puts it in his background when he does breaking points.
He's adorable. Here you go. She has more to say.
And the AI portion, I want to address that. Steve, that's a bunch of crap. They should have never put that poison pill in the House version of.
She's talking about in the big beautiful bill. She said there's a poison pill in there. It's the AI stuff, saying that states can't pass any laws to regulate AI for 10 years. Why would you put that in that bill? That's what she's talking about right now. Hang on, Kurt, what?
Screwed. You're screwed now, even if they don't go to war. You're still screwed because of that poison pill in the bill.
That's right.
About AI.
Yep. Okay, here we go.
One big beautiful bill in the first place. I am a 100% no vote if it is still there because I get to vote again. I get to vote.
And so there she is telling Trump, I'm voting against your big beautiful bill. So she's calling him out over the Iran war. And for going to war on behest of Israel. She's calling him out over the poison pill inside the big beautiful bill, saying she's not voting for Trump's big beautiful bill. And she's calling out Fox News. This is good. This is good stuff.
On it again when it comes back to the House. And I am not voting for a 10-year moratorium on state rights to make regulations and laws on AI. That is absurd. And the one big beautiful bill is about taxes, energy, and border security. And that's exactly what it should be. So shame on the people that put it out there. That should be separate legislation. And I'm not playing ball anymore. This weekend, I turned a corner.
So she says, shame on the people who put the big beautiful bill out there. You know who did that? Donald Trump. So she's saying, shame on Donald Trump.
To you. You're not supposed to be loyal to him. I think everyone's done enough being loyal to him.
That is such a good point. That Donald Trump is supposed to be loyal to you.
Morons.
You're not supposed to be loyal to Donald Trump. He's supposed to be loyal to you.
Don't even ask me if I'm loyal to Trump. I never was loyal to Trump. I thought that asshole was going to do what I wanted. Thank God I didn't vote. I said if Trump does even any of the things, I'll know voting counts. Well, now we know it doesn't count.
I think she has a little bit more.
I'm not playing ball anymore. I'm going to vote exactly for what I campaigned on, exactly for what I promised my district, and I will use my voting card to make that happen.
MTG, what's your social media? People will go.
Okay, so she's gonna vote against Donald Trump. And here, I'll just read. And she had a tweet that kind of said the same thing, but here it's worth reading. She said, I spent millions of my own money and traveled the entire country campaigning for President Trump and his MAGA agenda and his promises. And Trump's MAGA agenda included these key promises: no foreign wars, no regime change, and world peace. And this is what the people voted for. Only 6 months in, and we're back to foreign wars, regime change, and World War III. It feels like a complete bait and switch to please the neocons, warmongers, military-industrial complex contracts, and neocon TV personalities that MAGA hates and who were never Trumpers. After the bombs were dropped, we were told complete success. and Iran's nuclear capabilities were totally wiped out. Then it quickly turned to Iran's nuclear facilities partially damaged. And now it's we don't know where their enriched uranium is.
Wow. Good thing it doesn't matter if they have nukes. Good thing that was never an issue.
It does. Let me be very clear. My children are 22, 25, and 27, and she looks fantastic for having this.
She sure does.
I will literally fight anyone for their future. And their future, that means Trump. That's how you spell Trump. And their future and their entire generation's future must be free of America-last foreign wars that provoke terrorist attacks on our homeland, military drafts, and nuclear war. I am fighting for them to have a future where they can afford to buy a home, afford insurance, invest for retirement, enjoy life, retain their God-given freedoms, afford to raise a family under their Christian faith, not be in debt, safety and security, and not have our own taxpayer-funded government destroy it all. Contrary to brainwashed Democrat boomers think and protest about, Trump is not a king, MAGA is not a cult, and I can and do have my own opinion. So that's the perfect example of that. She's not in a cult. So that's what I've been telling people. That the cult, the real cult that I experienced is when I went to the Democratic National Convention last summer. That's a cult. No criticisms allowed. And the MAGA people who come to my shows, they're not in a cult either. They're all openly criticizing Israel, Trump's subservience to Israel, and all this stuff.
Yeah, you know when you leave a cult, by the way, I can tell you this from experience. Because you couldn't have talked me out of leaving the thing I was in when I was a kid. The way you leave it is when it doesn't do the thing it said it was going to do for you. That's when you leave. And guess what? Whoever, I call them kaboomers, not boomers, the kaboomers in charge, you're not delivering enough to trick people anymore. So you can get bots and you can put the CIA on social media and put them in charge of all this stuff, but people know if stuff's not working out. We've already seen this in the Soviet Union, remember?
Yeah.
Remember how the Central Power collapsed because they didn't deliver at the end of the day? So what do you think is going to happen? Not the same thing? The Soviets didn't even have the spying apparatus we have, by the way.
Correct. All right.
It's time to go to Rumble.
I just want to remind people that we'll see you. We're going to be back in Toronto on June, is it 17th or 18th? June 17th, that's a Thursday. We'll be back at the Royal Theatre in Toronto. That's a Thursday. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Then we'll be in Red Bank, New Jersey, making a triumphant return to the Count Basie Theater. And then we're going to be in Northampton, Massachusetts. We haven't been there for 2 years. So that was a big show for us. 700 people showed up for that show, Kurt. What do you think of that? That's in
I think you've been audience captured.
Northampton. So we'll see you in Toronto, Red Bank, New Jersey, Northampton, Massachusetts, and then Concord, New Hampshire. We've never been to Concord, so we're going to see if there's people who like Jimmy Dore there. We're going to find out. We'll see. Don't make me wish I skipped that date. Show up. Okay, over to Steph.
All right, so Jimmy, I think it's time that we're going to go on over to
All right, so let's keep
Rumble.
Kurt. So Kurt, we're going to have this lady on come on and talk about MK Ultra.
Oh, who?
So we're going to have to send you a different link.
Yeah.
And so we'll keep. So should we have them on? Not side by side.
No, they'll be separate. When she speaks,
so
she'll be up.
Yeah. So just because
Come
when
back
you
in the other link.
No. So yeah. So when you speak, Kurt, in this upcoming segment, be careful because don't try to because then the what is this called? StreamYard? What do we use?
It's the Zoom.
The Zoom will go to you.
It's like a governor in a way.
So yeah. So
it's not as good as StreamYard. Yeah.
So wait. Yeah, it's not as good.
All right, so we're going to see you over at Rumble, folks. We'll be right back with our special guest, and Kurt.
Hey, let me ask you something. When was the last time you thought about your gut health? Most people don't realize this, but your gut isn't just where digestion happens. It's where your immune system actually lives, where your energy is regulated, and even where your mental clarity and mood are shaped right in your gut. Kimchi One from Brightcore Nutrition takes everything powerful about traditional fermented kimchi, over 900 strains of probiotics, antioxidants, and enzymes, and it puts it in convenient capsules you can take daily. No mess, no prep, no strong odor, just real results. You can expect to feel more energized, clearer mentally, and have smoother digestion. Over time, you'll even notice a difference in your skin and hair, and we know that's true based on real science. Kimchi has also been shown in clinical studies to reduce the risk of obesity, support healthy blood sugar, and improve metabolism. Kimchi 1 is non-GMO, all-natural, dairy-free, gluten-free, and 100% made in the United States by a company that truly believes in wellness and integrity. Right now, guess what? You can get 25% off with my code DORE, that's D-O-R-E, at mybrightcore.com/Jimmy. And for an even better deal, call them. Call Brightcore at 888-253-0418. You're going to get up to 50% off if you call them, and free shipping. Do something great for your gut and your health today. Again, that's 888-253-0418.